This is gonna be freaking awesome!
Okay, so we have decided to build our own gaming PC because cost versus benefit. If you bought a PC of the power that we wanted, it would cost you well over £2,000. But if you have the confidence and knowledge to build your own PC, just for example, the pieces not in just this one box, but the pieces with components we bought for the PC totaled just under £1,300, and like I said, PCs of this calibre usually cost well over £2,000. So yeah, this is the first two pieces we're going to unbox and show off today. So from Amazon, of course. So we have some RAM by Corsair. Now Corsair is, from what I've seen, a pretty well known and good brand, and this is 32 gigabytes, so that's two 12 gigabyte sticks, which I think is honestly probably at the top end of what you can get. Could have gone for 64, but I think that's a bit overkill.
It's two 16 gigabyte sticks, not two 12s.
Two 16s. Math ain't mathin'.
But yeah, we've gone for 6,400 megahertz speed, which is slightly under the maximum for DDR5, but we wanted to go for DDR5 because it's the latest generation.
Yeah, and as time goes on, it's only going to get cheaper, so we could always upgrade if we wanted to.
Yeah, the motherboard we've got has got 4 slots, so with us using 2 of those slots at the moment to populate it with 32 gig of RAM, we could buy 2 more of these and double that to 64 gig on the same motherboard without having to throw any memory away.
And we paid about £40 for this? No.
God, no.
It was quite a bit more than that. This was the most expensive bit.
No, it wasn't.
80.
It was the no, it was it wasn't the most expensive part overall. It was the most expensive part in this box though.
Oh yeah, 80 quid.
So I believe it was about 80, yeah. Which is, we've searched everywhere and finding that speed of RAM in DDR5, 32 gigs of it in 2 sticks from a reputable brand with good latency is almost, this is the best deal we could find. There was no other, nothing came close. The only thing that did come close was 6,000 megahertz. I think that was Kingston, and it was like £5 cheaper or something like that, maybe 7-8 quid cheaper. It really wasn't worth saving the money on.
Yeah, I think 32 gigs will be more than enough for what we want to run for now. And this is our cooling system. I'll just so it's not liquid cooling, is it? It is liquid cooling, this one. So this is what I've seen mentioned as a sort of budget brand, but a good budget brand. So this is Thermalright. Is it one of the top range ones? It's one of the bigger ones, because the case we've bought will accommodate 3 fans.
Yeah, it's a 30. It is a 360 ml cooler. So obviously that's the usual sizes are 120, 240, and 360. So it's on the higher end. You can probably get bigger ones. I've not seen any myself, but yeah, I think it's got addressable RGB. What's this? An authentic tag. Yeah, ARGB. So
I know it says
supports
Ryzen.
17. Yeah, it's both these components are aimed at AMD, but
we've gone for Intel, haven't we?
Yeah, we've gone for Intel. We've gone for the brand new 1851 socket Intel, and even though this is saying that it supports the 1700 socket, we have made sure that this also supports the 1851 socket.
Ooh, infinite mirror effect on your CPU part.
That's pretty cool.
Very nice. So yeah, cooling, quite important. I don't think we're going to end up pushing this PC to the point it's going to overheat, but you want to make sure you have an alright cooling system.
I just want it to be quiet.
Yeah, I mean there's nothing worse than a fan blaring in your ear when you're trying a game. So there's all the details if you want to get this one. Like I said, more of a budget brand, but it's a good budget brand. As we've seen on a few other review videos. I think this part the entire box here cost about 130 quid, so this was like 40 to 50 quid, wasn't it?
Yeah, this was 50 quid and the RAM was 80.
Yeah.
So absolute bargain prices there if you look around. So, you know, wait for the other components and see what prices we got those for. We've been looking at things like Easter sales, Black Friday sales, January sales. You know, everything sort of goes up and down, but this is the first time we've tried to find components at the best prices during a sale, which was, I think, was just a May Day sale or a May Bank holiday sale.
Yeah.
Which had happened after the 1851 socket set had gone mainstream and was then within our price range for working with the CPUs that use it. So yeah, before this we were looking at different specs for older generation stuff, but now these set of components at the prices we got them for were able to offer us the ability to build something with brand new generation gear. So we'll unbox the rest of it when it turns up. We've bought just these two items from Amazon. The rest have come from CCL Computers, which is a company close to where we live. So it's in Bradford in the UK, and all the prices quoted are in Great British Pounds in 2025.
So our second delivery of computer parts has arrived, and I'm doing this unboxing less tipsy. So I'll start with the case. This all came from the same place, CCL Computers, probably mentioned last time. So this is a Lumina RGB gaming case, because we all like lights. What did you say this was? A
ATX.
Basically
bigger than what a lot of people go with these days, but
you can fit more in if it's bigger. So
yeah, more room for air to be circulated and stuff. Pretty hefty, isn't it?
On this side, it is pretty hefty. There's temporary glass.
Does it say there what the weight is? 11.3 kilos.
Oh.
Net weight 9.3, so it's still,
yeah,
as you'd expect, a pretty hefty chassis.
So there's a temporary glass on one side, and the front is a big RGB screen. Definitely not the biggest case you can get, but big enough. Ooh. Very nice. So let's go back. So here we have tempered glass, protective screen lamp. I assume that's the power button. Lights to indicate power. I assume headphone jacks. A couple of USB ports and whatever that button is, we'll find out. So the front doesn't look like anything now because it's not got any power to it, but apparently it has quite a nice display that you can customise with lots of pretty colours.
Interesting.
Lots of vents, one on top, on the side.
So this was the reason for going for the 360mm cooler, because this chassis is actually big enough to take such a big radiator, so that will fit just below there on the top. And yeah, the only reason we bought this was because we were just looking at cheap cases, because we weren't that bothered about a case, were we? And we are doing it on a budget to see how cheap you can make a decent gaming PC.
Yeah.
But we saw a couple of different options that were okay. They were all around sort of 25-30 quid. However, this one was £26.99, should have been £63.
Yeah.
So it was on a really good deal, so we thought, well, let's go for it, because more space. We can fit this in the area that we're having the PC. More space for air to flow, more space for bigger cooling, and if we ever wanted to sort of, I don't know, put anything crazy in there, there's always going to be the space to do it.
Yeah, I think we probably put 2 PCs in here.
Are we going to have a quick look inside?
Yeah, we can. I mean,
Just 2 thumb screws on the back.
Oh, yeah.
Are they tight?
They are a bit, yeah. Oh, wait, I've got it. This should just pop off.
That's a nice clean looking chassis there. I presume, yeah, the bottom sort of void is for the power supply unit, and then there's various orifices that we can run cables for a nice tidy finish, so that's good. Is that some kind of remote control for the RGB?
Yeah, it looks like a little.
It's addressable RGB as well, and the fan at the back is laden with addressable RGB as well. So you can have the front screen and the fan as base components, and then anything we bought that we can add to it, i.e. the cooling system, anything else that happens to have RGB on it, can be sort of tied into that function. So it's a cool feature. It's not something we were needing or wanting, but it's there, and it's a bargain.
So this is our second box from CCL, which contains the inner workings of our PC.
Oh, look at all those goodies.
Right, so we'll start with our SSD, because SSDs are just better than hard drives. We needed something with plenty of space and would be quick, so we've gone for a Kingston 4TB SSD that can do 6,000 megabytes per second.
Yeah, so not the fastest in the world, but as you can see there, it's PCIe 4.0 and it's an M.2 form factor. So these have been around for a while, and we were going to go for the PCIe 5 series, which would have unlocked a higher amount of speed, read and write. However, for the amount that it was going to unlock for us, what that was going to do for us, the price difference was terrible. So I think we were looking at a 2 terabyte one. It was 2 terabytes, it was PCIe 5, and I think the maximum read and write speed, or the maximum speed rated on it, was something like 8,000 or 7,200. So it was rapid, but it was was it something like 241 quid?
Yeah.
Whereas we got this one, we've doubled the space for. It was supposed to be 260 odd, and it was on offer at 200, I think.
Yeah.
Or 210, but then for some reason we managed to get it even cheaper because they had a sale on, so there was another 5% off. And we just thought we'd do a benchmark on the current PC that we've got, and the poor M.2 drive that's in there at the moment. It's only 120 gig, by the way. We've been running all games off a hard drive, a mechanical disk drive. So the speeds that we were getting on the M.2 that we've got now was something like 60 to 70 meg per second.
Yeah, so compared to that,
like, we've got internet speed connection faster than what that can write. So this is going to be absolutely lightning quick compared to what we've got. So we thought, let's go for the double capacity and save a bit of money, and that's where we've actually avoided the newest generation of format there. However, the motherboard we've gone with supports PCIe 5.0, so if we ever did, once the prices start coming down of these newer ones, we can upgrade or add a faster one to the board, so we're not sort of cock blocking ourselves there with upgradability. What's next?
The processor. Now, we haven't gone for an i7, which is what we were going to go with.
We were going to go with an i7, but it was a previous generation i7. I think it was generation 14 or whatever you call it. But this is the Core Ultra generation now, which is the newer LGA 1851 socket pattern. So we thought, let's go with the brand new. And we've looked at, we were going to go with an i7, a Core i7 12700 KF. We were going to be paying about 240 quid for it, and we checked the benchmark between that and this was about 24% more powerful, or 24% higher rating overall, and we ended up getting this for, I think, 200 quid.
Yeah, I think it was cheaper than the i7.
Yeah, it was. So newer generation and cheaper, so we couldn't say no really, and obviously it's faster.
So this, the motherboard.
Motherboard. We didn't want to, again, we're on a budget here, so we didn't want anything flashy, but we managed to find this, which is the ASRock B860M Pro RS Wi-Fi. We saw the same thing without the RS, and that was $139.99, but this one had a deal on, making it the same price, so we thought we might as well go with it. So
there's not a massive difference between the two, there's just a couple of extra ports.
Yeah, so we've got support for the processor, we've got support for the 8 RGB, we've got the 4 RAM slots for future upgrades, we've got PCIe generation 5 for the graphics card, and we've got PCIe 5 and 2 PCIe 4 sockets for the M.2 drives. It's DDR5 compatible for the RAM.
Yeah, you can take four DDR5 memory cards.
Yep, and it's on the B860 chipset, as the name would suggest. So yeah, that gives you an idea of what's in there. So 140 quid for that, which wasn't bad. And then I think we still got 5% off that as well because of the deal that we were on. So that should be pretty good. It's got everything it needs. The only thing it's not is an ATX motherboard. It's a micro ATX, so it may look a little bit lost in our case, but we don't care. It's going to do the job we need it to do.
Oh, who cares about that? Oh, this is a bit heavier than I expected. Well, this is our power supply.
Yeah, so we've gone with Game Max Rampage 750 watt, fully modular. We went with fully modular just because I think it's one of those things where for spending a little bit more money you can get a really clean look. So we've made sure that it's going to have the correct outputs for what the system will need.
Gold rated as well.
You can see there, that's everything that it has. Gold rated, so nice and efficient, and you know, I've heard some good things about this brand. It's a good budget brand, so that should be more than enough power for what we need. Could have got an 851 for an extra tenner. I think this came in at about £47. Then we would have got another 5% off that as well.
Yeah. And finally, probably the most expensive part of any gaming PC. I think it cost us about 500 quid, but it was 600.
Yeah, so this I believe was on offer at 499.99. Then we would have got 5% more off it as well, so that's good. But yeah, Zotac GeForce RTX 5070. So obviously there's better cards out there, but again, previously before the 5000 series were released, we were previously eyeing up components to make a machine that was going to be running a 4070. So it would have been the same tier but the previous generation, and we've looked at not only is this one cheaper even now to pick up than a 4070, but it is also much better, as you'd expect. Higher core count and just better latency. There's loads of stuff. If you look at them on a benchmark website, it's just, I can't remember the difference, but it was a good bit faster and a good bit more capable. So yeah, it's obviously brand new, latest generation. So it's going to run quite well in this system, and it should do anything we need it to. We're not going to be we're not pro gamers or anything like that, so if we do fancy playing a big game, it's going to have more than enough to run it for us.
12 gigabytes.
Yeah, 12 gigabytes of GDDR7 I think it is, so that's pretty cool.
Your other PC is only 3 gigabytes.
Yeah, and I think it's GDDR5 because that's currently running a GTX 1060 3 gig. So this is 4 times the memory size. It's probably got about 4 times the cores as well, if not more. So yeah, that should be a fair bit of heft. And obviously, as I say, you can get. It's not a middle of the ground graphics card. It's, you know, on the higher end, because there's only, was it something like ranked 8th or 10th out of the benchmark list.
Higher end.
So there, you know, there's not that many more expensive, more powerful, but boy do they get expensive, because you can get like is it a 2090 or something, a 5090 even.
Mm-hmm.
I think they are somewhere around £2,000 to buy. So it's about 4 times the price of this, and it probably has 4 times the power. I've not even bothered looking at the performance stats on that. We just wouldn't. It's just not within our budget to blow on something that we don't do very sort of seriously.
No, I think the most demanding game that we want to play is either Red Dead Redemption on highest graphics settings or the Oblivion remaster, which this will definitely run.
Oh yeah, it'll absolutely smash it. So, you know, this will set us up nicely for any games that are coming out in the future that sort of require a bit more, and you could probably go 2, 3, 4 steps higher than that and come out with a crazy massive game that has all these crazy requirements, and we'd still probably be able to run that in a few years' time on mid or low settings with no issues at a really good frame rate. So yeah, that's the plan. So if you look for a PC in 2025 in the UK with these specs running DDR5 with 32 gig of RAM at 6400 megahertz, and then you start looking at the newest chipset motherboard with the newest chipset Core Ultra processor, and you want that coupled with a 5070 graphics card and a 4TB M.2 drive, good luck finding that pre-built for less than £2,000. We've tried and we just can't find anything close to it.
Most pre-built PCs you'll see run DDR4 and are nowhere near this god.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And obviously you can get much better ones, but they're just even more expensive. So for the price, this is the best we've been able to come up with. So you know what we've bought, you know where it's been from. So if you watch this anytime soon, you might be able to get a similar price. But yeah, thinking about that, the total cost of all these components was £1,250.
Yep. So
I'd say that's a good 750 quid plus saving at the expense of, I don't know, waiting 3 or 4 days for it all to arrive and then spending half a day building it. We've just been able to buy a genuine, and it says genuine, and it should be genuine, copy of Windows 11 Pro, or should I say the activation key for it, along with download link, on Groupon, which, if you don't know, is a a discount sort of site that I believe is UK based, but it may be worldwide, probably will be worldwide, that sort of gives you high discounts on stuff. So for it to be listed on a place like that, I presume it will be legit. And that was supposed to be £99 and I got it for £6.20 or something like that. So cannot complain at that at all. The only reason we're doing that is because obviously later this year, in I believe August, Microsoft is kindly removing its support for Windows 10. So we're all being forced to upgrade. I don't really have an opinion on the operating systems. I just want it to work so I can get on to use my programs and my games. So yeah, we're going to probably do a video of building this as well and show you what it's like when it's up and running, do some benchmark stats on it. So keep an eye out for that.